Company. You're here for Ryan's Beer Reviews. Let's see what's on tap today.
Hey beer tubers, it's Ryan back with another episode of San Diego Beer Vlog. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to take a look at another beer that Stone released the week of February 14th. This is the 2011 version of Old Guardian. The back of the bottle says that this is a barley wine style ale, not a barley wine. So I think that's a clue to this beer and how you kind of have to view it, because as the case with Stone, their barley wine is very hoppy, very much like Sierra Nevada's Bigfoot. So this is what they refer to as the 2011 classic release. There's such a big uproar about the odd beers for odd years, where they put in their Belgian yeast strain into the Old Guardian and the Imperial Russian Stout. So this is just the regular Old Guardian for 2011, as was demanded by a lot of people who wanted to get the regular version to try this year. So obviously people are liking this beer if they demanded. They didn't want any changes to be made as far as the yeast goes. This is a 12% beer. I already reviewed last year's, but that was an older bottle. This one's fresh. Good amount of carbonation come from the bottom of the bottle. It's a nice kind of dark orange going into brighter red kind of character in this glass. I'm using the Stone Cali Belgique IPA glass, but hopefully it'll work for this, because this is a very hoppy beer. We got about a 2.5 finger, slightly off-white head, a little bit of yellow in there. Mostly medium-sized bubbles in there, some small bubbles. Let's get the nose on it. It's sweet and hoppy, which is kind of what I was expecting. I mean, there's a ton of malts in this beer to get it up to 12%. So I'm getting like really sweet caramel notes, like big time, like sugary candy kind of sweet notes. And then the hops, you get some like earthy, kind of not really in the pine category, just kind of really earthy, kind of dry smelling hops. But there's mostly dominated by the sweetness on there. What's great is for a 12% beer, I'm actually not getting any alcohol in the aroma, which is kind of surprising. We'll see how it does in the taste though. So I'm ready to give this a try. Cheers. Yeah, that's tasty. It definitely has, it has such a great sweet and bitter interplay in this beer. I mean, you have those big, like, I mean, it's caramel notes, like big time, just like toffee caramel. Maybe a little bit of breadiness in there with the malt. But then you have a ton of bitterness as well. There's a lot of hops in this beer. I tend to get the hops more, first sip I got more in the back end. Let me try it again. Yeah, I tend to get a little more of the sweeter malt character up front, and then midway through is when the hops start to kick in. Kind of get that earthy, slightly piney kind of hop character, and that kind of keeps it from that malt character from going too sweet on you at the end. Comes in, dries out your mouth, so it's a fairly dry beer for 12%, that's for sure. If Dogfish had made a beer this big, it would not be this dry, that's for damn sure. Having just had some fresh Bigfoot, which I'll probably get to reviewing, Bigfoot's actually hoppier than this beer, at least to my palate. But Bigfoot I get a little more alcohol, and this one's drinks so smooth. If there's ever an easy drinking 12% beer, this is definitely one, because they don't let that sweetness of the malt get too cloying with your palate. You can drink it easier. So I haven't had this one out of the fridge too long. I didn't want to drink it cool since it is on the hoppier side. Usually like to drink hoppier beers a little cooler than some of the bigger maltier beers. So I'm going to let this one warm up and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back with the 2011 Old Guardian from Stone. been sipping on this for a while longer. As it warms up, the hop notes kind of fade out a little bit. The malt definitely comes forward. You start to pick up just a touch of alcohol in the end, but I'm still amazed that they get a 12% beer to have the alcohol this well hidden. Just amazing job brewing this beer. Those caramel kind of toffee notes just really just jump out at you. There's a slight bit of dark fruits kind of going on in there, but not a whole lot. Just really like caramel, toffee, a little bit of breadiness in there. Still remains fairly dry, so it's a very highly drinkable barley wine, which you can't say that about a whole lot of other barley wines out there. After a while, they just end up going too sweet on you for the most part. But this one, and especially Sierra Nevada Bigfoot, which is actually probably hoppier than this beer, that drinks almost more like a double IPA than this one does. But I'm going to go with an A- for the 2011 Old Guardian, which I think might have been the same grade I gave the 2010. It just lacks a little bit of the complexity that some of the other barley wines might have. But other than that, it's an excellent beer, so that's why it's getting an A. Drinkability is very high for this beer, and you can't really taste the alcohol either. You're just going to feel it when you're done finishing off this bomber. So it's going to wrap it up for today. Until next time, please comment and subscribe. Cheers.